Alright, welcome everybody. My name is Ashir, and let's do a quick new player's guide. So if you're just picking up this game and you don't know where to start, there are a few good options to choose from. The flight school,
Tired of waiting for shuttles? Want to fly wherever you want,
combat
whenever you want? Then
scenario. Yeah, so the flight school, combat scenario, and advanced gameplay will all be excellent starts to get an understanding of how to start playing the game. Then from there, every other start is basically a choose your race and starting ship start, with the exceptions being the Tides of Avarice starts. These are more guided starts or assisted, as it says right here, and game type, game start
The
type,
Vigor
assisted
Syndicate, you say?
or guided. And these are like pretty easy going if you don't know what you're doing and you kind of need more help. These are great starts. Excellent starts to start out on. This is a hot start if you want to start over in Terran
In
space,
the
get right into
aftermath of the
combat.
escalation.
Terran Cadet is an excellent start there. Uh, Semi-guided, but not as much. Project Genesis also is an assisted start, so basically you skip some of the storyline and stuff. When you're just barely starting, you might not want to do that, but
The mission statement.
if you restarted over and over again and have done
The mission.
if you've done everything at the start a few times, maybe you want to skip some of that. Fires of Defeat. This is a hot start, and this is a dangerous hot start. So if you don't know what you're doing at all, don't pick that one. You start out in split space. This one is a sandbox start,
Why
so
Patriarch
perfectly fine
Rancor
to start
failed to
out on
send.
if you want to just start in a new spot. And that's really just a choose your race right
Why
there
Patri-
option. Perfectly fine start. The Young Gun, Unworthy Entrepreneur, Dedicated Warrior, Untested Explorer, and Accomplished Scientist will all be your base game starts without any of the DLC. They're all more or less just pick your flavor of which race you want to play. The Unworthy Entrepreneur starts you out with a station. It's not a very great station. You will have to import goods to get it working, and the exports aren't going to make you very much money. So you do start out
Even
with a little bit more money at 200,000. And what's the other one? Accomplished Scientist also starts you out
Yes.
further along the story with 250,000. But those starts are 250,000 is not a lot to start out with, so you're going to be struggling in any of these starts to start making money, and you're basically going to want to do the same things for all of them. So really, it's just pick your race and starting ship with some flavor story text on top. So most people are going to go for the young gun start. They start out with nothing and jump into the game head first and try to learn it from there. I've already done this start, and I have shown off a way to start the game. You don't have to do it, and I'm going to load that game now. So this is the game. And what I've done up to this point so far, if you just click on this video for the first time, is I've already went through and found all of the data vaults, minus the Tides of Avarice data vaults. I haven't touched any of those. So I will be finding those throughout the story, because this will turn into a playthrough if you want to follow along. And I will also turn this into an economy start. So if you want to know how to start into the economy, just get going right from the get-go and uh, just really start rolling, this will be the starting guide for you. So, if you're tuning in from the last video where I did hunt down all those data vaults, thanks for watching those. Those were uh, some long videos, but if you need a tutorial to finding all the data vaults, there you go. I've also explored most of the map, so if you don't want to see the map real quick, I guess tune out, but the map is mostly explored Well, all of the sectors I can get to without being shot at or lowering my relationships with NPCs. I'm talking about the Terrans, of course. Everywhere else you can fully explore. So I was trying to go for the Explorer achievement, but that one is, since how I own all available DLCs at this point in time, and I will own the next DLC in a few days. So that Explorer achievement will include all sectors. So you need to find every sector. You need to personally go into each of the sectors. You can't just assign an NPC pilot out to find every sector for you. You actually personally need to go into each and every one of these sectors, and that takes a little while. So I'd recommend looking at that Data Vault Hunt video that I did if you want to if you want to see where to go to get to every sector. There are some missing sectors. There's one missing sector over here that's unlocked through a story plot, and this is the Terran systems, and obviously the Moon and Earth are missing because I don't have access to those two yet without being shot at. And there's also a story plot that will take you into those. There's also another story section for the latest, or well, the Tides of Avarice uh, system also has the Tides of Avarice system, which will be over here. And then there will be another sector later on unlocked in the story. And I won't tell you how to do that. You'll have to play the story to figure it out. Or I guess you could watch this playthrough because I will get that throughout the playthrough. So if you're wondering how to get the Explorer achievement, that's how. You're going to have to play through some storylines. And with the up and coming DLC, you'll more than likely have to play through those storylines as well to get into every single sector personally. So with that all out of the way, let's continue on with this playthrough. I do have some additional starting funds because I went through and collected each day or grabbed the collectible from each data vault and uh, the signal leak. So I got the historian achievement done doing that. So if you want that, those videos are complete and ready to watch. All right, let's get into how to start. So you don't have to do everything I did in order to start the game and to jump into the economy. If you want to start getting into the economy and just get going from the get-go, you don't have to do everything I did. You can literally just press new game on your young gun start, and you're going to start out with a ship and no money. The first thing I'd recommend you do, if you want some quick and easy cash, if you want to trade out your ship for just something slightly different, would be to go and find one data vault. You don't have to go and find multiple. Well, you shouldn't have to go find multiple, but one or two data vaults should give you enough starting money because the container you pick up gives you a fair chunk of change. It's like 200,000. That should give you enough chunk of change to change out your starting ship if you don't like the one you're in. So once you're happy with your race, uh, choose the start you want, really, and then go from there. With that, yeah. So let's continue. So if you watched the previous video, I did upgrade to the Terran Scout ship. It's very unique looking, I will say that. And then I treated myself because after I got all the data vaults, I have a couple million. I treated myself to a decked out Tacoba. And why this ship in particular? The Tacoba, I mean, because it's fast. It has two shields, the Terran Shield Mark III, so it's got a good amount of shields. The Terran Pulses Mark II, those are actually fairly good weapons. They're not the, I wouldn't say they're the best of weapons, but they're definitely good enough to start with. More than good enough to start with. And then I have Terran engines on it, of course, because I want, Terran ships because they go fast. Well, I actually want Terran engines because they go fast. And they have extra, or they get up to speed faster. And they're meant to be, basically, these are like player type engines. If you're going to be playing the game, you'll eventually migrate over to Terran engines just because they're just a little bit better for when you want to fly a small ship. Now, once you get into larger size ships, mediums, larges, extra larges, the large and extra large actually just have like one or two engine types, so it doesn't make a difference there. And I don't believe the Terran engines make a big impact there either. So it's really just the small, mostly small ships, and then maybe a medium ship here or there. Um, yeah. So I get to jump out of this ship and get into that one. But I'm actually going to go
Rapier.
buy. Actually, go do that right now. So in order to start an economy or get going in the game, you're gonna need some starting capital. And if you don't want to go through the tedious job of finding all the data vaults like I just did, what's a great way to get some starting capital? Well, a data vault will get you into a different ship or two. And actually, for a pirate start, what you'd actually like is something that you can get other crew to abandon their ships with. And it's kind of a convoluted mechanic, but it works the whole game long. So there's a reason to piloting small ships. And let's go over that now. So the reason the Discoverer Vanguard or Sentinel, because Vanguard is just a variant or Sentinel is just a variant, and those variants are you get more crew, less cargo hold, a little faster. The variants are there are minor differences on small ships, and the big ships there are differences, but we'll get into those when we get to that. So Sentinel or Vanguard, those are just variants. You can get the Sentinel here, or you can get the Vanguard at Argon Prime. You can get the Sentinel version over at Antigon Space. And the differences are pretty minimal, so I'm just going to go for Argon Prime. If they have enough hull parts, hopefully they do. They should. I'm going to get it on min preset. And the reason I'm going min preset is because I can throw on, well, actually, I can go to a different station and get it kitted out if I don't want just these engines to look at and compare with. And there's a station uh, not close by, but pretty easy to get to that you can have the choice of all three of the main factions. Well, you can get Paranid, Talati, or Argon, as these are called. So if you're not happy with these options, you can just get it min preset and then fly it over to another wharf. Um, I'm actually fine with, well, let's just go view it. So if I bought it here, they have enough um, whole parts to make it. Min preset, no weapons. I could buy it here if I wanted to. No big difference. I don't need anything special. I like the docking computers. It's not necessary. None of these are necessary for now. And none of this is necessary. You don't even need a crew except for a pilot, because when you buy a new ship, of course you need a pilot. So if I bought that ship there, all I need to do is follow the superhighway, or yeah, just follow the highway around through the gates. Stay on the main highway. It's a big old loop. You'll end up back to the start if you keep following it. Follow that highway all the way around to Trinity Sanctum 3. Once you jump in through this gate, immediately get off the highway. Just use your thrusters to go straight up. And then turn around and come in through this accelerator to find the Alliance Wharf. From there, you can right click on the wharf if you're, or when you land the ship, you can choose to upgrade and refit. Or you can, if you're having somebody else fly you there, you can right click on it, say menu, and then you're back into this menu, but you have all of the options. Well, not all of the options in game, but you have most of the options. And these options will be plenty fine. Now then there is a noob trap uh, here that you're not seeing, and it's not very well explained. But it's the travel engines. The travel engines are kind of a noob trap. Travel speed is something you want to travel at most of the time to get from point A to point B, and they're not so great in regular speed. So they're not as good during combat, let's say. But they also take more shields from your ship when you boost. And that's part of the noob trap is the travel engines will eat through your shields more when you boost. The combat engines will eat the least of your shields, and then the all-rounders somewhere in the middle. So there's part one of the noob trap when it comes to engines. The other part of the noob trap is that the all-rounder engines, and especially the travel engines, take a few seconds to kick into travel drive, whereas the combat engines take no additional time to get into travel time. So when you're in a tense combat situation and you need to escape immediately, as soon as the as soon as you can kick into travel drive, as soon as that little check engine light turns off on your HUD, you can immediately get into travel drive and not have to wait an additional 3-4 seconds for a travel drive to spin up. In those 3-4 seconds, you're going to get shot again, and you're not going to be able to go into travel drive again. So you're going to have to shake them off, or more than likely end up dying if you're in that situation. Whereas the combat engines are going to get you out of that situation. And because they don't eat through your shields when you boost, you're going to be able to boost out of that situation before it gets too dangerous. Whereas if you tried to boost in with a travel engine, your shields are going to be mostly gone. You're going to get shot. You're going to die. So don't do that. So those are some of the hidden noob traps about the engines. I believe the Argon will give me the highest travel speed with the combat variants, and tweak you can tweak these engines and play with the ones you want until you find the stats you like. Basically, they're mostly the same. I just like a little bit more travel speed out of it, so I go with Argon. Thrusters really, you will feel the difference between a Mark 1 Mark and a Mark 3. And the all-rounders, you'll get more yaw speed, so if you want to turn left or right. With the combat, you get less yaw speed, but you get more pitch and roll, I believe. So in combat, you're gonna more than likely when you're dogfighting, you want to roll the ship and then aim up or down to get into combat behind the enemy you're trying to shoot at and then shoot them. You're not trying to turn left and right, so that's why you get less yaw speed. From here, um, there are differences between the shields. Argon is like a middle of the road choice. Paranid is a slightly faster regen delay. So when your shields are fully depleted, you'll have to wait less time for them to come back up. And then the Teladi are opposite of that. It takes longer for their shields to come back up, but they have a higher capacity. And then the Mark 1, 2, and 3 variants are just stronger or better in every aspect. And then with those race specific aspects tacked on. So this is a very good middle of the road tier 3 shield. Well, very good is it's good for what it is, I guess. This is the good option for faster regen and regen delay. Minor differences, so these aren't like earth-shattering differences. The major choice here is between regen delay and maximum capacity. So let's go with the maximum capacity just because I'm not really worried about regen delay. I know how to stay out of combat long enough. that I can get the shields to come back. So that's not a big problem. And for weapons, so when you first start out the game, you won't have relations to 10 with any faction, and you can very easily raise your relations uh, with any faction. It doesn't take very long. It doesn't take a lot of effort. There are a few ways you can do it. One of the ways is destroy enemies next to stations that you want to raise your relationship with. Another way is to sit outside of the station, very popular way, sit outside the station, wait for a criminal civilian ship. They're little teeny tiny ships. Wait for a criminal one to pop into view and then blow that up. You'll get usually +1 relationship with the faction that you helped destroy a criminal for. And then the other way that no one really talks about, but is kind of the most, or actually it is the main way to do it, or the easiest if you set it up right, is through just trading. If you trade from one station to another, they're only going to buy what they want. So they're actually, you're going to bring them goods that they want. So you want to look at your trades and make sure that you're buying things that they want because they won't buy just anything. And that's trading with your ship, not from your personal inventory. Those are so going to the trader's corner and trading those items. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is trading with your ship. So there is a trade menu. You can buy items with your ship and then go to another station and drop items off. That'll be the main way to level up your relationships with other factions. And it's not that hard to set up. And the best part is you don't have to do that yourself. You can set up NPC Pilot to do that for you. And you can do it from the very beginning of the game with a little bit of money. So I will show that off a little bit later. Let's finish decking out the ship. When you first start, you're only going to get pulse lasers Mark 1 and 2. And I believe there's another option. Or no, you'll get all the rest of these options later on, minus the burst ray. That's a unique faction weapon right here. And I believe the Ion Blaster, Mass Driver, Muton Charger, these are all uh, specialty options from different wharfs. And the only option that's actually missing from this wharf is the Blast Mortar. So you'll have to take a look around at different factions, or I could show you. But we won't go into specifics of weapons just yet. Just know that for when you're just starting out, a Pulse Laser Mark 1 or Mark 2, whatever you can afford, will be just fine. Brand new ship, brand new game, can't afford anything. Pulse Laser Mark 1, Pulse Laser Mark 2, perfectly fine to start out with. I like the docking computer, but you don't need it. You do need the options marked in red. Now the difference here between the basic scanner and the police scanner is when you actually scan a ship, not when you look at it from the map, but when you get behind a ship, go into scan mode, select the ship, and then go down the menu to scan. I'll show that off. The basic scanner is only going to give you basic information. You're not going to know specifically, I don't think it tells you how much cargo they have, and it doesn't tell you stats about the crew. Basically, you want to look at their morale stat and see how good or bad their morale is to see. You want to know those for the next part if you want to start pirating a ship or you want to steal a ship from someone. And that's what we're going to go do is show off how to steal a ship with a beginner ship. Nothing fancy, no crazy mods. I don't believe the targeting computer is necessary, and I don't believe the trading computer is necessary. The trading computer is more for NPCs, and I believe I'm not really 100% on what the targeting computer's for. Obviously, it should be for targeting, right? But I believe that's for NPCs as well. So these, I believe, just affect NPCs. You always get the best of the best anyway. So no need to put either of these on. And maybe I'll find out during this video if I need that targeting software or not, but I don't think I do. As far as deployables, then none of this is necessary, so we can just skip that. Since I'm buying a ship, I will need a pilot. And yeah, let's go pick it up. Or make it meet me somewhere. Actually, I'll go fly over to that station real quick. So there we go. One Discoverer Vanguard. And why specifically that ship when I'm going to start pirating is probably the question you're asking. And that's a good question. The reason the Discoverer over almost, I believe, every other ship actually, is specifically because of the low hull points. Not because it has a lot, but because it has a little bit. Because of the bailing mechanics and how they're calculated, one of the major factors in the bail mechanic is your maximum hit points versus their current hit points. So you want a ship with the least amount of hit points possible, and that will speed up the bailing chance process. It is still a chance, but it'll take significantly less amount of time to force a pilot to bail if you choose a ship that has a little bit of hull points. Even the Elite Vanguard has more hull points than the Discoverer, and it has one less gun. So getting out of the Elite is preferred usually for most people. It's a cool looking ship, definitely looks cool, but gameplay wise, almost everyone will tell you to abandon that thing as fast as possible. The Nova is also a fun option. These engines, when you place them here, they can actually turn independently, so that's really cool. Definitely a good looking ship to go fly around. It does have a lot of hull points. The Quasar Vanguard has 4 guns and also has a very low amount of hull points, which makes it also a pretty good option for stealing, pirating other people's ships, because you can have more versatility packed into your weapons. And having more versatile options is nice. But for stealing medium ships, it's kind of unnecessary. Um, Keeping their shields down might require more weapons, so this is also a perfectly good option. It might be a little expensive. Let's see the minimum. Okay, that's affordable after 1 data vault with no guns. And after 2, you could probably get it. Let's see here. Oof, it can get expensive fast. So a low preset, you could totally afford that within 1 or 2 data vaults, and you don't have to go hunting across the galaxy to find them. You're gonna trip over them like they're a Lego on the floor. You're just gonna step on them at some point and hurt your foot. So yeah, perfectly good option here. These aren't necessarily good combat ships. There's a difference there. I wouldn't take that out if I wanted to do any dogfighting or any serious Xenon curb stomping. That's not the ship I would want. That's why I got the Tacoba. And then the other notable option to talk about, if you want even more guns, is the Pulsar Vanguard. Available from the Antigon Wharf, has 6 guns for a small ship and a small hull value. And that's what you want when you're going to force pilots out of medium ships. It's the smallest hull value you can get. And let's see what the low preset for this will be. That's also fairly affordable. Its combat stats aren't very good. It's not very fast. It's actually, I believe, one of the slowest uh, ships you could get for pirating, but that it really doesn't necessarily matter. It's fast enough boost speed to get out of trouble if you're into it. Its travel speed is fast enough to get away from a threat if you really had to. So this is a perfectly viable option, in my opinion. But I just went with the most common ship that everybody's going to use right at the start. So let's go drive that ship real quick. In fact, let's go take over my nice new shiny ship so I can leave it there. Because I spoiled myself and got a nice ship.
Tacoba.
Can I help?
So I could just take control of the ship, but I'm going to assign him to the
Confirm.
service crew. And that'll save me a lot of annoyances of just kicking him out of the chair every time. And then for the rapier, I'm going to actually sell that ship to get some money back. So I'll have even more money at the start from those data vaults. But I'm going to take the ships that I want, or take the crew, especially the skilled crew member, onto the Tacoba, if I can. Oh, it looks like I can't. Oh, but I can send the able or send the apprentice crew member over to the rapier. So you want to keep as many skilled crewmen as you can, or specialists. Same with the Marines. You want to keep your veteran and elites because they're more difficult to train up. It's not impossible, but you want to keep your skilled people, and you can let the apprentice level people or the recruit level people go. And now I don't even think I need to get a pilot. I can just sell this ship right out. And when you're selling ships, you want to shop around to get the most value out of your ship. Let's see here. It's not looking like I can get too much more than anywhere else. That looks good enough. 1.1 mil. I could sit there and hunt around for the best price, but it's unnecessary. So there it goes. I just got my money back for it. And now let's get over to that Discovery Sentinel.
Entering system. Second contact.
So I'm gonna buzz by Argon Prime real quick. So if you if you start out with the game start with the Discoverer and Sentinel or Vanguard, it's one or the other. The Discoverer ship, if you choose that start, you actually start out in that system I was in. So this will be the same route you take if you want to go over to that wharf. There's a data vault
Data vault.
right there too. And there's a data vault in the previous system. So if you're looking for some fast funds, check out the very start of my data vault video. I go and collect those two data vaults almost immediately, and that gives me enough starting funds to go get
Entering
the rapier.
system. Argon
Because that's one of the
Prime.
first things I do in that video is go get a better ship. And the data vaults, of course. So now I just hang on and fly around the highway to Trinity Sanctum 3 is what I'm looking for, or listening for.
Entering system. Atikva's choice.
To stick onto the highway a lot better, turn off your mouse steering or your steering mode, and you will be much stickier to the highway when you fly through. So if you're having problems entering the highway lane, turn off steering mode first and then fly your ship into it, and it'll grab your ship almost as good as the autopilot does. And to stay on the highway, just also turn off steering mode, and you'll stay on the highway a
Entering
lot easier.
system. Silent witness.
There are a few ships that don't fly very well through the highway, like the Rapier, but you can kind of finagle it till you get it just right. That's not really a big deal.
Entering system. Profit Center Alpha.
So yeah, the cockpit of this ship is really nice because it's I don't have to turn off the HUD in order to look out the window and see everything. So that's neat.
Entering system. Bright Promise.
And actually, I can turn off the UI elements, but
Entering
still see that I'm
system.
inside the
Trinity
cockpit of a ship.
Sanctum.
That's cool. You can do that. The hotkey with that is Shift H, and the hotkey to turn off your view of the ship from the cockpit is Control H. So if you want to fly around like that, you can.
Entering system. Unholy Retribution.
So the economics start. What are we going to do? We're going to look for
Entering system. Ice Mists.
a ship to steal. Let's see, this was right. Oops, I went too far. I went 2 systems too far. Whoops. Easy mistake. We're listening for Trinity Sanctum, but I was talking. So I turned off steering right there. Instantly sucked into the highway when it boosted into the highway.
Entering system. Unholy Retribution.
So we're going to look for a medium ship to steal. And if you're already doing a
Entering
guided,
system.
if you're
Trinity
doing a,
Sanctum.
come on, let me talk. If you're doing a guided start, specifically the Tides of Avarice start, where you get stranded, you will actually get a tutorial mission on how to steal ships. It doesn't tell you the exact ins and outs of why it works the way it does or how it works, but you do get a short tutorial on how to steal a ship if you follow that plotline, which you will anyway, because that plotline actually pays you a
Entering
fairly good amount of
Trinity
money too.
Sanctum 7.
So the reason I'm continuing on with this start, by the way, let's see here, I don't know where to exactly show it, is that I have started out as game start the young gun. That'll be the most common start for everybody is the young gun, especially if they want to just jump in and learn everything from the start. So that's the game I started out with the hunt all the data vaults with, on purpose, because I knew people would want to do that one. So you can do pretty much everything I've done, even if you don't have the DLCs, except for going and getting the
Discoverer
DLC ships, of
Vanguard.
course.
Paranid Wharf.
So I already see my ship I want to start the game out with as if I didn't even go out and do everything I just did, or just started a brand new game. I choose to jump into the Discoverer Vanguard at the start because
Successfully docked.
now I know what I know about it.
We're pleased to welcome you aboard.
So we're just gonna hop on over to the Discoverer Vanguard and then we'll get our economy started. And what do you need to get the economy rolling? You need some
Discoverer Vanguard.
Hello.
starting money. Everybody needs a little bit of starting money. Where do you get that? Well, the initial starting money to buy this ship came from data vaults, even in this save. I just happen to go get a lot more data vaults than everybody else will, but that's fine. You can literally get away with, I think, getting just one data vault will give you enough to start out with this ship. Might not have the best of gear on it, but you can start out. with a ship. Now, this might actually even be a good system to look for a target to steal. So what kind of ship do we want to steal when we're starting out as a, say, role-playing a pirate? A very good ship to start out stealing is a mining ship. So now we just want to stock or a trader.
Vulture.
Sure,
Vanguard.
literally the first ship I've came across. How do I know it's a medium ship? The icon tells me that that's a medium trade ship. The square would be a little more pointed, not exactly a triangle if it was a miner. Now, oh, someone's actually picking on this vessel right now. Ooh, a buccaneer ship. No one will get mad at you for shooting a buccaneer ship. Even the buccaneers don't get mad.
Prometheus.
And that's also a medium-sized ship. So even an even better ship just showed up to steal. The buccaneers are pirates. So if you pirate a pirate ship, no one's gonna get mad at you. Now then, the buccaneer ship is incredibly dangerous. For a few reasons. The weapon they have right now hits extremely hard, and because it's on a turret, not a forward-firing weapon, the cooldown on the weapon doesn't exist. It's just waiting on its attack cycle, basically. So there is no cooldown on turreted weapons. The only waiting period between shots is their attack cycle or whatever it is they wait on. It's not cooldown. Unlike forward firing weapons, where it does have a cooldown, and those weapons are incredibly bad, like hilariously bad as forward firing weapons. The plasma cannon, I think it is. Absolutely terrible weapon on forward firing mounts. Okay, so we found our first pirate ship, or ship that we want to steal. Great idea to save the game. Remember, we're in a teeny tiny little ship, and if we get hit by maybe even one shot of those turrets, we're about as good as dead. So we are playing with fire right here, and you know what happens when you play with fire? You get burned. So what we're going to do when we first want to steal this ship, they're going to go collect their cargo. Let's match speed with Shift X. Of course, they're boosting and all sorts of fancy flying right now. Let's get close to them as close as we can. Match their speed with Shift X. Uh, and then go into scanning mode. You can either click interact with them through the interaction menu, which is very slow, and go down to scan, which takes a while, and they've boosted off. And they used their whole shield while they did that, so that's kind of hilarious because that makes it easier to steal their ship. Or you can learn the other hotkeys. They're being a real pain. You can use the other hotkeys, which are Shift 2 to get into scanning mode, Shift F to start scanning, and then you want to stay within 1,000 meters to make the scan work. Now we can pause the game and look at how difficult it will be to get this ship to surrender. And what we're looking at is because we have the police scanner on this, we can see how much cargo they have and what it is. We can also see their morale level, their piloting level, and overall crew skill level. So a 3-star ship will take longer to steal because all their service crew has high morale. So stealing in this case isn't uh, running out and jumping out of your ship and actually physically stealing it. Stealing this ship or any medium ship when you're doing it like this, will be forcing the crew to eject or yeah, jump out in their spacesuits because they think you're going to blow their ship up. And that isn't exactly how that mechanic works. The mechanic is tied into your hull points. So that's why we have this ship specifically and why it's so good at it. Your maximum hull points versus their current hull points. And the other calculations. Basically, you don't want to blow the ship up. You want to knock their shields down to minimum, so anywhere between 5 and 1%, and then you want to keep shooting them to get their shields in between that. And in order to speed up the process, you want to lower their hull value down to 75%. Seems to be about the sweet spot. So you want to get their hull down to 75%. You want to get their shields down to like 1 to 5% and once the hull's down to 75%, and then just keep plinking them. And eventually, the crew will lose morale. You can pause the game and check how much morale if you scanned them with a police scanner. Once their crew starts finally losing morale, they'll start bailing out of the ship. It will take a little while on longer ships, as actually I'll probably get blown up doing this, but this is just to show you how it works. And maybe this isn't the best to target because this is Duke's Buccaneer, but that's what makes it fun. So we're going to start laying into them.
That was a really silly thing to do.
That's going to make it so that they can no longer boost away, or they could boost away if they wanted. But I'm going to try to stay out of range of their guns while chasing them, because their guns are exceedingly dangerous. And now I'm already lowering their hull down to 70%. Okay, so now they might initiate some fancy flying to try to shoot me or whatever. Right now they're just being and now they're just chilling. I expected more of a fight. But they're cruising pretty high morale, so it's gonna take a while. And these are, oh boy. Ooh. They will start targeting me if I'm not careful.
Don't do it, please.
So the crew's starting to lose morale at this point, but it will take a while to get the crew to fully abandon the ship. There's 10 people that need to jump off, including the pilot. So this was an excellent way to start your economic ventures, because once you have the ship, you can use it for trading and get your relationship up with, well, you can use any ship for trading to get your relations up with other factions,
That
even
was a
scout
really silly
ships,
thing to do.
or ships that barely have any cargo space. So it doesn't have to be a trade ship. I am really confused why they're barely putting up a fight. That's funny.
Please, spare our lives.
Okay, so some of the crews jumped out. It used to be at 10 in the bottom right. Now it's at 7. And I've sped that process up by choosing this ship with the intentionally less max hull value. For some reason, that appears as more intimidating. I'm much more intimidating to them with less hull value for some reason. I believe is the excuse. It's really just the game mechanic and how the calculation is, but that's a one way to put it. So I am intimidating the crew to lose morale and give up. So actually, before they all jump ship, let's take a look at their morale. Okay, so the morale didn't drop. I expected it wouldn't. So there's some sort of internal calculation that's going on, and it doesn't accurately reflect this. I bet if I scan them, maybe it should update. So once again, scan mode, get within 1,000 meters. So now that I've scanned them again, maybe it shows. Okay, so it just doesn't update. Good to know. I didn't know that, but I knew I could test it. So now
I'll make sure you regret that.
they're down to 4 crew. And eventually all of the crew will abandon ship, and I will get a free ship. I'll have to repair it a little bit, but and the repairs are next to nothing compared to how much money I can get out of it, so that's fine. Or if I'm really low on funds, I can just wrestle up another data vault. I'm sure you saw the one in this system that I was flying towards. So there's another data vault for a free 200k if you want. And if you want to know how to
Please,
do
spare our
data
lives.
vaults, each type, and how to get actually paid for them, go ahead and check out my previous video to this playthrough, actually, where I go and do all the data vaults. So I don't need to shoot the hull down anymore. I just need to stick with them and blast the shield down, and eventually they will give up and
That
abandon
was
the
a
ship.
really silly thing to do.
This is much easier than I thought it would be. Remember, these aren't the best weapons either. These are just pulse lasers Mark II. You could probably even do this with pulse laser Mark I's.
Please, spare our lives.
And the less damage you do to the hull of the ship, the less your repair fees are going to be. Now, keep in mind of those turrets. I'm not trying to get in line of fire of those things, because that ship will rip me apart if I get shot by them. Especially with those turrets. Those are exceedingly dangerous. This is interesting behavior. Trying to get me in range of those turrets, I think. He just went belly up. Come on, abandon ship already.
Don't do it, please.
You see that no sector police or anything are coming
I'll make
over to
sure you
me?
regret that.
There's no sector security losing relations or anything, because these guys are pirates, so no one cares if you steal from pirates. And you don't even lose overall relations with the Duke's Buccaneers, because their relationship
This isn't
is...
worth it. Bailing.
There we go. Perfect. So the Duke's Buccaneers faction, you can see in the bottom right, it went back to neutral. Well, that's a bad example because the ship is now abandoned. There's no crew. But the Duke's Buccaneers faction, if we go and look at it, they are always locked to -15 till you advance a storyline. And then what you do in that storyline will affect your relations with them. I believe unlock having any kind of relations with them. So yeah. So go ahead and steal from any of the pirate factions. The scale plate pact is the same way. So don't worry about stealing their ships. No one's going to come to the rescue when you
Discoverer
start.
Vanguard.
I don't even believe other pirate faction ships will come even stop you from stealing from pirates. So pirates are an excellent source of income if you just want to steal their ships. Now then, capturing a ship, I've seen a whole bunch of funny ways of people trying to capture these ships. They run up and press their repair beam on it. You don't need to do that. No, none of this required at all. Maybe for roleplay reasons. But just come over to this little scannable spot, usually where the airlock is for the ship. Just fly up in the scan mode for the suit. Once the data stream gets decrypted, you have a new ship. And you can try to manually repair it if you want. It'll take forever with the hand repair laser though.
Prometheus.
So now I have a brand new trade ship. And as a bonus, it's got some really good weapons on it. Wow. If I could get a better view of it. Maybe I should jump in it. Here, here we go. It's got an excellent paint scheme. That paint scheme is phenomenal. And it has 3 very dangerous weapons. These are slow projectile. Oh, 2 of them got destroyed because because the crew damaged the ship on the way out when they abandoned the ship. So that's one of the biggest reasons why you don't want to shoot the hull down too low, is because the crew will retaliate by damaging the ship on their way out. So if you shoot the hull down to 1%, it's going to blow up when they bail instead of you shooting it and it blowing up. So let's take this ship back to a dock, get it repaired. And since how we don't have any research unlocked, and those who know what that does will understand why, let's tell our Discoverer Vanguard to come dock with us so we can get back into it and continue pirating if we want. This will be an excellent start to an economy. By the way, I do believe this is a trade ship. So it should have tons of container storage. 4,000 container storage is excellent. And I might just keep this ship instead of selling it because I have money from the data vaults to rely on getting my economy up and going anyway. But once you've stolen a ship, one of your options... Where am I going? Getting too busy talking. Oh, joy. That's not what you want to hear. Let me out. Let me out.
Paranid Wharf.
Where's the Pyramid Wharf? There it is. Whatever that is not really after me, so not a big deal. If it didn't overshoot the wharf, it wouldn't have been a big deal either. Oops. Oh well. Whoa there. So I didn't mean to overshoot, but I'm too used to, hey, there's a crystal on that asteroid. I didn't mean to overshoot right there, but you'll notice when you fly larger ships, they have a little more inertia, and they keep going. Especially when you load them full of cargo, which this ship should have a little bit. So you want to stop before, or start slowing down before you reach your destination. Usually well before, or else you'll shoot past or fly into the station. And it'll be a real bad day if you don't have any shields and slam into something.
Docking granted.
And now this is a medium-sized ship instead of a small size. And that comes with some good benefits.
Successfully docked.
Alright, so we can look at...
We're pleased to welcome you aboard.
Oh! This isn't just an regular old plain Jane ship. This is a Duke's Buccaneer ship. And what Duke's Buccaneer ships have that almost every other ship will not is they come pre-stocked with mods or modifications. Not mods that put mods on your game file and then show off modified game. No, no, no. Modifications to the ship. So they have an all-around engine that's been modified. So that's pretty cool. So it's going to be either faster or more agile or whatever they put the mod on. So we can go take a look at that in the ship dealership if we want. Thrusters don't get any modifications, so you're always free to change thrusters. It also had a modified shield. Cool. It even had a modified weapon. 2 weapons, in fact. It has 3 forward-firing weapons. This might actually be a phenomenal player ship. Well, except for it's a medium-sized ship. It's not very nimble. And it has a ton of hull. So this, if you want to make a trade ship, I'm not even sure where to get this ship normally. I'll have to look at the wiki or something. So if you want to make this your trade ship and just trade around, there you go. You don't have to go buy it. Just go take it. And I've already showed you how to do that and talked you through the whole way. So yeah, that's how to get a ship. I am going to repair it. It's going to be worth more after it's done being repaired. So yeah, that's a tutorial slash start guide on how to start the game, start getting your economy rolling. This will be part 1 of a playthrough, so if you want to keep watching, I will keep explaining what to do. And if I want to sell this ship, I don't think it's this menu. Let me
Prometheus.
get up from the chair and actually just look at it. I don't necessarily want to sell this ship. I actually do want to keep this ship. Ooh, program field. Anyway, get distracted. Squirrel. So this ship is worth $1 million. Just straight up from this dock. You can shop around to other docks, but I can get a free million out of that for about, I don't know, 10 minutes of work maybe, and maybe another 10 minutes of prep. You can just get $1 million. That's more than any mission's gonna give you right at the start of the game. Or actually, that's more than most missions will give you at all. So if you're doing missions to make money and you're hating your life, piracy might just be the right way to go. Especially if you do any of these. Because these are often more difficult and... Oh, you have to join the guilds first, but once you join a guild, these missions are usually a little more difficult and they don't pay out nearly as much as just taking a medium-sized ship and just selling it. So if you're looking for a way to boost your economy, just follow these steps in this video. Get yourself a Discoverer Vanguard for the low hit points, or Pulsar Vanguard, can't blame you there if you take that one either. And then go shoot a medium-sized ship until its crew bails, just like this video, and then take what you want. Bonus points for taking a Duke's Buccaneer ship, because it's got modifications. I'm actually going to look at those. I might as well keep this video going till I look at those video modifications, because why not? That's a little extra. That's a little extra spicy bit for you. A little extra fun. I don't even have ship modifications unlocked yet because I don't have research unlocked. But here's the modification bench. Let's take a look at the Prometheus. Lovely paint job, love it. All right, so what has it got? A drag mod. So that'll make your ship more nimble for flying. Make it easier to slip around, make it more slidey. This has missile launchers, which I do not like at all, really. So I will be dismantling these. When you dismantle a ship mod, you do get resources back. So it's perfectly fine to dismantle something you don't want. And this will give me tier 2, actually, the enhanced quality materials, so I can unlock that and get a head start on collecting materials for when I want to mod ships. So cool. That ship was even more dangerous than I thought it was with those tracking missile launchers. That's awesome. No modifications on the turret. There was a modification on one of the shields. I can't remember what type of shield it was. Let's see, where is it? I believe that's a Mark II shield, which is too bad. But yeah. Base game, that was a pretty good roll actually. Shield capacity and shield recharge rate, that's not bad, but I'm gonna change that shield out anyway. Oh, so that's just more mats. For the thruster, oh, just a basic engine boost thrust. And boost thrust, yeah, barely made a difference. Boost thrust is not the mods you want to go for. um, Unfortunately, I can't salvage the Duke's Buccaneers down here in the bottom left. I can't steal that paint job, but I would if I could, because that is nice. That looks great. Anyway, I hope you like this beginner's guide, how to start the game off. And yeah, start the game off right and really get your economy rolling. Start stealing, start stealing pirate ships and sell them to make a little bit of money. And then keep following this guide if you want to know how to get actual economy going, start building stations and stimulating an economy and actually making a fortune without having to steal everything. There's going to be a lot more stealing though, so keep that in mind as we go forward. Yeah, I hope to see you on the next, or hope to see you in the next video, and maybe leave a like if you liked what you saw, and leave a comment down below if I messed anything up or said anything wrong, yeah. Or if you just want to say hi, that's okay too. Yeah, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.